Hello and welcome to the Super Salty Podcast with me, Neelesh and my co-host.
Max Wallace. What's up, dude? It's been a second. Happy to be here. I'm Naruto, by the way. I don't know if I told you.
For the audio listeners,
can't do that.
Max is doing the Naruto hand signs. Today, it's been a while and the things have happened. We had the PlayStation show. We actually had the PC gaming show too. We just seen some games. We've seen game trailers. A lot of them, I'm going to admit, pre-rendered, but it's nice for it to be announced. And there must have been people working from their homes to get these pre-rendered trailers rendered. And let's talk about what the upcoming titles are for PS5, some of which are cross-platform, but that's okay. I find it interesting that even though they're cross-platform games, a lot of the time they get announced at either PlayStation or Xbox. I don't really see a problem with it, honestly. It's just companies giving studios money, announce your game at our show, and of course they would say, okay, that's how it is.
Yeah, man. It's it's par for the course for every video game trailer I've ever seen to not include gameplay in it. So that is not something that surprises me at this point. But it gives you a view into the vibe of these games, the direction they're sort of going, the things that they maybe are prioritizing when, in some of these cases, remaking these things or continuing the story of a previous game, etc. So I'm pretty happy with what I've seen of these trailers.
Okay, so let's go from...
I have a little PS5 fund kind of sitting there in my bank account. It sort of. I mean, it's my emergency fund for serious things, but I'm going to put more into that so I can take out a PS5 amount from the amount of money that I would use if I were in a car accident or needed to repair my car.
Just a reminder.
Important stuff.
We have a good few number of US listeners. Remember to vote, and remember that this brown British man gets free healthcare. So, make things count. Because it would suck, Max, if you were ever in an incident where you had to use that money in a serious situation rather than a PlayStation 5. Let's talk about the price for a second, because you asked me, and everyone's saying different things. But I gotta say, the way consoles work is that they actually operate at a loss, and they make their money back through game sales. This won't be any different. But I remember the PS3 was really expensive on launch.
Yeah, for sure. It had an interesting launch. I was actually talking to my friend John about this today. And we kind of agreed in this weird way that because the PS3 was so inaccessible, I guess, compared to other consoles around that time and before that time, that there were less normies using it, so the communities were a little tighter, a little better, the player base felt online games on the PS3 was just a good time because it was just so many unfavorable fellas were on the Xbox, including me. I had a 360. I didn't have a PS3 till later. Yeah, and same. And so I don't know. It's kind of it's one of those weird instances, kind of like the Wii U, where the launch isn't good, but the console itself is actually fine. So maybe we'll see that. I mean, I felt like I saw somewhere that the PS5 was a little expensive.
What kind of numbers you see?
It looked like a router. I had seen somewhere $700. I don't remember where from. And I hate to admit it, but I would probably still go for it if it was that much.
If it's $700 for you, that means £650 with VAT on the UK, and that's expensive. However, a lot of people have been saying it's probably $500. Other people have been saying
500. 500 would be great. That's fine.
That would be great because that's 300 and something, close to 400 with release titles, of which they get bundled together.
I'm definitely swayed by my previous experiences with companies. I mean, as you should be. I mean, but the PS4, I love the PS4 so much. I've bought two of them, the regular one and the Pro.
Same.
Actually, they're just good. They're just great. Great console, great controller, good. I'm in. I'm down, dude. And also, I could see the new Xbox killing it too. I think Microsoft is making a lot of good moves. So I feel like maybe we're about to approach another like good golden age of sorts with games, possibly. And of course, with any golden age with media, you don't know it when you're in it. You know it afterwards. So
Hmm.
remains to be seen.
Hmm.
But like, I'm feeling pretty pumped for what's about to happen. So cool.
But we
Yeah.
can both agree that like between Xbox One and PS4, I think PS4 has really taken the crown here in
Oh
current
yeah, no
generation.
question. Yeah, the PS4 yanked me back out of
Hmm.
Microsoft because I had a 360
Hmm.
during that generation for sure. I was like PC and Xbox 360. I also had a Wii later. Um, but then the Xbox One came out. There were all those weird controversies with like you can't share games and you have to be
Oh
connected to
god.
the internet and you have to have a Connect. I'm like, wow, this is very anti-consumer, and I don't have a lot of money. I don't. This seems awful. So PS4 it is. There's no. It was like not even a question. PS4 was the only choice at that time for me. And even when they rectified a lot of those issues, I don't know. I take shit personally as a consumer. You know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
stuff
you
stuck
should.
with me. So yeah.
Um, let's talk about the shape and size of the PlayStation 5. How do you feel about how it looks?
I think it looks like a router. I think I really like routers, so I don't hate it. I saw somewhere on the internet that someone said this is what people on the internet speculated the PS3 was going to look like, or something. Like this is what someone 10 years ago, 15 years ago would think a console in this year would look like, which is like so funny. Just like lots of like rounded edges and things. But compared to the PS4, I think I like the PS4 better. I like even parallelograms, angular corners. I'm a fan of how the PS4 looks and the PS4 Pro. I like how they look.
I mean, the PS4
So
Pro just
I'm
has
like
like
I'd be okay with it.
the PS4 Pro has just another stack. That's why it's a PS4 Pro. Like you look at it and it
I
just
love that. It's genius. It's like, hey, remember how the PS4 is two parallelogram? What would you call that? Parallelogram? Whatever the 3D version of you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna give up on the
you just
entire
stack
thing.
it, and then obviously the memes came out that like then the PS 4K Pro Mega would be like an even bigger stack. But I gotta say, lying down it looks fine. There's two versions. There's one with a disc drive, one without a disc drive. The one without a disc drive looks better. Hopefully it's cheaper. I'd probably go for the one without a disc drive. I'm not a huge fan of keeping physical copies. They take space. That reminds
Yep.
me, most of my physical copies are actually in my sofa, which is in American a couch, because there's storage in there. And the Xbox One is
We say
actually in there
sofa.
too. You say sofa?
We don't prefer sofa. It's just it's a synonym.
Okay.
Most people would say couch first, but sofa's like a word.
I'm
For
glad.
sure. Yeah.
Your country is progressing.
Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear. Yeah. We're not completely in the loo anymore.
My Xbox One is
That one you
actually
don't
in
have.
there. My Xbox One is just gathering dust in there, and it's been gathering dust in there for literally years. I haven't needed to play a game on that thing in a long time. And
Now that you're saying that, I didn't even realize you had one.
exactly.
I didn't even know you had one. Yeah.
I had one from near launch. I've had mine's like 2013 actually. I got it when I went to university, and I played nothing on it really, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, and then
But the 360 was so perfect. I
Yeah.
loved my 360 so much. I bought the black edition, my first one, because I was kind of late to the party with it at the time. So I didn't get that red ring of death shit. So I maybe feel differently than other people
Bruh,
who had the white
don't
Xbox.
remind
and
me. I had to
died.
wrap my thing in a towel every week. Like it got
You
to
have
the
to
point. that
remelt
every-
the solders back, or solders, as
I
you would
don't
say,
know why I
probably.
had to do it. It made no sense. To fix a thing, you have to let it heat up. That made no sense to me.
I think it was remelting solders on the board, on the motherboard. Pretty sure is what that was.
That's
It was
insanity.
like reheating metal to make a connection go back together. which is wild
It's
because it was
crazy.
just not built to ventilate. The cooling was not good. The CPU just generated
That being
more
said,
heat than
my PlayStation 4, which was a white PlayStation 4 that was the Destiny edition of the PlayStation 4, which was still the ROM.
I had that one as well.
The really old one. The only difference
It's a great
is
looking
white.
console.
Yeah,
White PS4 looked awesome.
but it started ejecting discs mid-game. It just mid-game, it
What?
just eject the disc, and I was like, why? And it's because something about the sensitivity of the touch buttons, and that can actually be adjusted with a screw that you need to take the faceplate off and stuff. I did all that. I did software things. It was a known issue with some of them, and I just decided, like, if you remember for Death Stranding, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, either I have to install a game to play it in terms of digitally because it will physically push the disc out, or I could just get a new PlayStation. The PlayStation 4 Pro was really, like, people were saying great things about it. I gotta say, it works immensely well. It doesn't make a noise. It doesn't make a loud fan noise either. I want to talk about the PS5 size. Do you know how big it is? Have you conceptualized this in your house yet? It is. They estimate.
No, I actually haven't thought about that.
It's because the one with the disc drive, you can. They are guessing how big. They're making a really decent estimate on how big the console is based on how big the disc drive slot is, because the disc drive slots are probably going to be fairly uniform across the board, right? Reasonably, with
That's
a couple.
pretty smart.
And they adjusted it for scale, and they estimate that the PlayStation 4 is about 14 inches wide. Not wide, long. Okay. And I was thinking, this is an issue for me, actually. And I have really large spaces next to my TV on the shelves. And I was looking at it, I was like, I know that a regular console, even the PlayStation, even the Xbox One, can be on its side, can be standing up in that space. And I was like, but only just. And I got a tape measure and I measured 14 inches. And I was like, oh my God, I won't be able to stand this up in here. And I was like, I can only just lay it down because the shelving unit is slightly wider than it is tall. So that's a nightmare, honestly. That I have to
I'm trying to
that.
conceptualize that. I have my PS4 Pro right here next to me. I feel like that's more than a foot, what I'm looking at. I feel like it would be a similar size. I might be wrong.
I think
I don't know.
I think the PS4 is about a foot.
Yeah, how tall is the PS4?
I don't know.
I could just Google that.
Yeah, just Google it. Until then,
PS4 dimensions.
It's a strange shape, the PS5. Like, what if you drop it on yourself and one of those, like, little prongs stab you in the foot? God help you.
Ooh.
What if someone yells catch at you and throws it prong first into your chest? Why am I worrying about
this? So I was relatively correct. So PS4 Pro is 13 inches.
Okay.
Like. Yeah.
Is the PS4... I guess the PS4 Pro is actually a little bit bigger than the regular PS4. I've never really thought about that.
It's an inch longer, according to whatever site I just read that on. 12 inches PS4, 13 inches PS4 Pro, 14 inches PS5, 15 inches PS6, or PS5 Pro. Who knows?
Well, it's just slightly larger, and this is the problem. Between the Xbox Series X, which is a terrible name for a console, and the PS5, which one do you think looks better?
I think I like the PS5 a little better. I don't hate either necessarily, but it's a weird choice for the Series S or X. We're talking about the refrigerator, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little strange. I don't know. I prefer like a thin kind of thing, so that there is a way to put it on a surface that makes it not take a lot of vertical real estate.
I see what you mean.
If it's like a square, like a rectangular prism like that, mm-hmm. It's like
I think
not really a thing.
People took the piss out of how it looked, and then they saw the PS5, and then people just stopped taking the piss because like it's called the Xbox. And it looks like a box. And it kind of makes sense. Now the PlayStation 5 looks like a 2010 mock-up that someone made in Blender and rendered out. But maybe that's enough about physical controls. I don't know how to feel.
I do like the PS5 controller. Like, I think it looks pretty neat.
I gotta say, like, I got I have my controller. I have 3 controllers like in my immediate vicinity. The Xbox One controller is pretty good. I have a white one. I have for my PC. I typically use this old 360 cabled one, which is actually very comfortable. Like people forget how
I
good
love
this
that
is.
one.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
made
yeah,
a
yeah.
special.
It's a
The one
great
for
controller.
PC was actually superior than the one they used to sell. Like one that's Xbox 360 controller for PC, and it was actually better than the Xbox controller, the cabled one that you'd get for the Xboxes. And then I have like the PS4 Pro controller, which by the way is slightly better than the regular PS4 controller because I had that too. It's pretty
I didn't
snappy
really notice
feeling.
that.
Yeah,
Huh.
maybe mine was just like used too much. I gotta say, like, I do like the Xbox One controller quite a lot because it looks
Me
pretty
too.
cool and it feels really nice. And I have a different version. I don't have the one with Bluetooth, but like I got grips here. I have like a nice version. They have too many versions of this, but like it's pretty
The
neat.
Xbox One controller did a lot of good things. I think it has the best feeling triggers of any of the controllers, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I
Mm.
love how the triggers feel on the Xbox One. Also, like a lot of people don't like the shoulder buttons, but I kind of do because I don't use the tip of my finger to hit the shoulder buttons like you would with the
Do
triggers. I
you like
use like
use?
the middle segment of my so like between the last 2
What? So
knuckles,
do you?
like
Oh my
below the
god!
fingertip,
Sorry, I hit
sort of on
mic
the
button.
side of it.
Do you hold it like
Hey,
this?
all good.
Or like this or something?
Waiting for the camera to snap back
Camera,
to you.
come to me. Do you hold it like this or like this? How do you hold it? That you're hitting it like this?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. I can show you with my PS4 controller.
Why do you
This
use
is for all the audio listeners are gonna love this. So like this. So like
That's
the
strange.
shoulder button I'm not using. Yeah, kind of like that. Because my fingers are on the trigger, right? So
Right.
already I'm like there for the shoulder button. So I don't have to move my finger a lot. And so I kind
Maybe
of
I
like
do
that.
that. I don't know. Just for audio listeners, what I was saying is that for the triggers we use the tip of our fingers, but then for the bumpers, Max uses the next segment of his finger because it's closer. Maybe you hold a controller
Yeah.
weird. But let's stop talking about hardware because
I
like
think I do. I have big
we-
hands too. That's probably part of it.
all right, weird flex, but okay. Let's
It's
talk about.
true.
We just went through a bunch of trailers that were all pre-rendered, but I'm going to ask you. I'm going to shoot them at you. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I know you didn't play Spider-Man PS4 all the way through, but what did you? I don't. Why am I asking you really? It looked cool because it's a pre-rendered trailer, and Miles Morales. I'm sure you don't know because you haven't seen Into Spider-Verse. He is an alternate. In comics, he was an alternate version of Spider-Man, which was a different parallel universe. But people liked it so much that they brought him into the main storyline. I think it was in Secret Wars. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Then they basically the comic book universe has probably more than one Spider-Man. Peter Parker is the main one, and there are other ones. So Miles Morales is another Spider-Man, and he is he happens to be half Latino, I believe, half black, and he's different in a sense that he actually swings differently, like more. How do I explain?
I didn't realize that there
cooler,
was
just
differences more than just okay.
and
Sick.
he has a power that he can just. I think he can straight up electrocute people just on a whim, and he has another
What?
power that he can turn invisible. So he can turn invisible. I think he can electrocute people. Am I making that up? I don't think I'm making that up. I'm trying to remember the movie, but
Well,
the Into the
I'm down with
Spider-Verse.
that.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse movie you should definitely check out because also
Yes.
Spider-Man PS4 is like one of my favorite games. I think it's like the best game. Well, what my best game? I think the best game is probably God of War, which we didn't see any of because come on, come on. But Spider-Man PS4.
You know what? They
is
did
great.
so well with God of War PS4. Like they can wait a while for the next one. That's fine. There's still a lot to dig into with God of War. I love that.
There's so much to dig into. I think he should hop into different religions. I'd love to see him in Hindu mythology. I'd love it.
Oh, that would be sick.
It'd be dope.
That's a great point. Yeah, he's just been kind of in the Norse stuff, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Or Greek or Roman.
He was
I don't know.
he was Greek myth, and then they brought him into the Norse stuff, which was really refreshing and new. And I'd love to see him in just other things. Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's another pre-rendered trailer, but I showed you the Demon Souls remake that they're doing, and it looks cool. It's pre-rendered. If it looks better, I've never played it. Have you ever played it?
Me? No, I haven't. My From Software experience is the first Dark Souls, the third Dark Souls, Bloodborne. And it's worth saying, I'm a little tiny little baby boy and haven't really completed any of those games because I'm not a good enough gamer man to do that sort of thing. But do I have fun in them? Yeah. Do I love walking around in them and looking at set pieces and like sort of getting into muscle memory of it and like yeah, that stuff's so fun. Bloodborne is my favorite of those. Demon Souls seems to be something that a lot of the fans who play that series look back on fondly. And so I don't know, it seems like they're very receptive to the fans' opinions to be doing something like remaking it. I could see myself getting it at some point, maybe not at launch, because who am I kidding? Like I don't want to buy a fourth From Software game where I'm like not going to beat it. But if it goes on sale or something, like what's up, Demon Souls? And it is a remake as opposed to a remaster. Apparently, I had read like 20 minutes ago. So interesting.
I don't even know what the difference is.
We'll see what the fans
anymore.
say.
We will see what the fans say. I think if it was remade to look pretty on PlayStation 5, I'd consider giving it a go. Unless that version came to Steam. If that version came to Steam,
this is true.
I'd probably get it on the
1,
PC.
2, and 3 are on Steam, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think they are. Or Dark Souls, that is.
Yeah, it's true.
Even just those games look awesome. They're unbelievably detailed. Just walking around and looking at stuff. Dark Souls 3, which I'm extremely bad at, I will play sometimes for the purposes of just looking at like landscapes and looking at things far off in the distance and how the cobblestone under your feet looks and the enemies. Like, oh, it's such a good looking game. And Dark Souls 3 is like not new at this point. And it's beautiful. Bloodborne, awesome. These games just like are amazing to be inside of. So
Bloodborne,
I could see myself playing this.
Bloodborne is probably the most appealing to me. I suck at it.
It's my favorite.
I suck.
Me too.
I'm so bad. I don't. I really think I just rage quit very early on. I did. I rage quit.
It's really tough.
Suck.
It's very tough. What appeals to me with that is my play style. I'm a little reckless and like efficiency obsessed, like min-maxing a lot of times. So where in Dark Souls you like really gotta take your time and use your shield and do all this shit. In Bloodborne, you're rewarded for being aggressive. It gives you that like little period of time to get in there. That like orange part of your health bar, if you lose health, if you like attack someone and do damage, you can get some of the health back that you lost, like rewards you for immediately going back and like countering stuff. I think that's cool. So yeah, maybe we'll see something.
Probably
not.
I think so. I think if it looked pretty, I think if it looked really, really pretty, I'd probably give it a go. The next game that I think you will want to talk about more than me, because I saw you just trailer very recently, as well as you finished the first one, is Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, baby!
Yeah, dude. Horizon Zero Dawn is probably maybe my favorite, third person, open world, craft things, kill things, storyline game, your Breath of the Wilds, your Skyrims, your God of Wars. Man, it was such a special game for me. I had such a good time playing through it. I really savored it and took my time. I want to go back and 100% that shit. The first game, real bad. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the idea. I'm just so into it. It's just such a great game to play and to be inside of. It's just like I love running around as Aloy and shooting shit with my bow and arrow. It just feels so natural in my hands. Everything down to the default sensitivity for aiming feels great. And I love the things that they sort of revealed in the trailer, like the creatures, the animals that were not in the first one, like mammoths. And Aloy has a mask for breathing underwater, and there's going to be swimming shit in this game. Oh my god. I cannot wait to see what they do with underwater stuff in this game. It may be one of those situations where it's just in the trailer and everyone thinks it's going to be crazy, extrapolates that it's going to be like really complicated, but then it's really just a tiny part of the game. But I'm hopeful. I think they could maybe make it work. Every now and then, a game makes being underwater fun. Every now and then, sometimes. I think it would be this series if they do. Yeah, like I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see where the story goes because I love the story of the first one. So yeah, I will get this one. Maybe even at launch, which is like relatively rare for me to do.
I did not finish the first one. I think life happens and I just end up playing something else, or I just stopped playing video games for a bit. That's simply because when did it come out? I think it was at university. I was doing something, and I gotta say,
like it was 2017, 2018.
Was it 2017, 2018? Okay, well then I wasn't at university. It was
2017,
cool
February.
to see. It was very cool to see robot dinosaurs. It's just how else can you say it? Robot dinosaurs, and in a very strange world where people are like hunter gatherers, but amongst some sort of singularity had occurred and for some reason, instead of making Terminators, it made robot dinosaurs and robot animals and giant robot crabs and things. I was like, that's very interestingly cool. Big robot stegosaurus. And
I love that it's the game takes place in the future of this present day. Like when you find artifacts in that game, they are like things that we use now. So it's just like hinting at like, hey, whatever happened to make there be mechanical animals everywhere happened after present day. Something happened and there are shit's different, and for some reason all of humanity doesn't remember what the hell happened. That's like fascinating to me. That like made me want to uncover the story more. Like, yeah, how the hell are there mechanical robot animals and dinosaurs everywhere? What happened? So yeah, it's a genius idea for a story.
I think we'll skip a couple on the list, but I showed you Resident Evil 8 Village. Mm-hmm. That was I didn't actually finish Resident Evil 7. I did play a lot of it, but I ended up life happens, you uninstall something and then you want to know what happens, so then you watch the Let's Play. And I watched Jesse Cox's Scary Gaming Squad play a Let's Play because they're pretty thorough with looting. I think that's really important in most games. Like, looting is definitely a big part. And I was impressed. And I think that they took the Silent Hills formula and they ran with it really well. I think they actually redid Resident Evil 7 because of that. I can't remember seeing. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I saw something about like they remade Resident Evil 7 a few times, which happens a lot in video games, honestly.
Yeah,
and Resident Evil
for most purposes, it's a good reason. I think it ends up benefiting when developers take their time.
And Resident Evil 8 Village, which was interesting how they did it. They didn't say that it was Resident Evil 8 until the end of the trailer. It just showed Village, and I was like, oh, okay, Village. And then it highlights the VILL to show that it is the Roman numeral 8, and then put Resident Evil underneath. And everyone was like, this makes sense. And it makes sense because I can't remember which Resident Evil looks like. I think it's
I think it looks like 4.
It's 4. It's 4. I was just trying to get it off. I was
4
about
is
to
my
say,
favorite.
It's the one on the Wii. But
4. Yeah, for sure.
And I am
on Steam. It's great.
I'm a very big fan of how they're remaking Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. I think 2 looked fantastic because it was the one where third person, so you get up close and personal to like all the objects and see how well they did the art. It's really good, and they're weird little gore technical art. Or people want to call it the gore engine, but it's really technical art. It's really fucking solid. Like, it's great. I think it's one of the really great looking games. I think Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake, and I guess Resident Evil 1 if they're using all the same stuff. I think it looks better than, like, in my opinion, aesthetically better than The Last of Us. And The Last of Us is a beautiful game. I don't want to jump there yet. Do I want to jump there yet? I've been playing
We
The
could
Last
at
of
any
Us.
point.
We could now.
Me as well. Okay,
So,
yeah. Why the fuck? This is our podcast. We can do what we want.
so The Last of Us.
Damn it.
The Last of Us 2 came out after a very, very muddled release, I must say. What happened was a disgruntled employee I covered this on the podcast. A disgruntled employee leaked major plot points with cutscenes out, and I think it's because the employees wanted. I read and I did some research. The situation may change.
I remember us talking about it at some point.
Yeah,
Or something.
And the employees wanted their bonus early to ride out the pandemic. And usually, when a game is released, they get big bonuses afterwards, and they usually take pay cuts in order to have the game made, and then they collect the bonus after its release. So they were really trying to force the hand of Naughty Dog to release the game, and it appears to work. Also, when they said it would release, they kept changing the dates, which was annoying. And I think it's I remember there was like a technical reason. I think it was about getting physical copies. I think they couldn't get enough physical copies made to stick with their original release date, so that they moved it a little bit back. But it was still like, I think it was like 4 days, which was annoying to me, but still. Let's keep it spoiler free for now, and then we can do spoilers. It looks beautiful. I can't believe it's a lot of people saying like this is current gen technology, current gen game. It looks that good.
I love it. It's awesome. It feels great to control them. It's just like, and I don't think, and this is good. It's not the looks that are good is not at the cost of the playability of it. It doesn't feel like there's any crazy like latency or like weird frame drops. It's like this I'm sure has to do with us using PS4 Pros to play it, but man, it is killer. I love playing it. It feels great to walk around as these characters.
I have a question.
It's great. Yeah.
Now I've played Uncharted, which is a Naughty Dog game 2, and Last of Us 1, and now this. I find that in all of them, there is some form of aim acceleration, like thumbstick acceleration. If it was on a PC, I'd call it mouse acceleration. I find that there is like a floatiness to the aiming. Do you find this at all?
Yeah, a little bit, and I think it has to do with when you first start moving. It becomes consistent after a moment. I could be totally incorrect about this, but my experience and I've only played this game for like 2 hours maybe. If you go from not moving the right stick at all to shoving it to the left or right, it doesn't just immediately start moving like say in like Halo 2 or something, where it's like, it's very strictly just it goes as fast as your thumbstick. There's a build up, there's a ramp up, which I don't necessarily know that I hate. I don't know.
I'm going to say that I really don't like it. Because a lot of the time, especially on console, I've been playing first-person shooters, and they don't do that at all. Like, Halo doesn't do that. And when I started playing Uncharted, and I found that it did do that, I found it quite annoying. I understand like why they do it, and it also looks for a spectator better. But it annoys me because I feel like I don't have as much control over the aiming as I wish. And I remember when Uncharted 4 came out, I was saying like the aiming feels really weird to me, and people were saying like, yeah, a little bit, but you kind of get used to it. I'm like, I haven't, especially coming from PC, where when I move the mouse, the thing moves, and it moves at the rate that I move the mouse. And I guess you can't translate this. There are different approaches to translating it to a thumbstick, right? You've got any opinions?
I think it's just Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I want to ask you if you had any opinions on the writing, because it's a big point of contention for some people.
From what I've seen so far, I'm pretty okay with it. Like these characters are sticking in my head. I already feel some sort of attachment to them. These characters I like, sort of just met more or less. I'm like, I would hate if this person died. I would hate if this person died. I think that's usually a good sign that, you have some investment in characters. Like, I don't know. From what I've seen, and we're talking 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours. So far, so good. That's where I'm at on it. I don't think I'm in there deep enough to like really lay down an opinion, an informed one.
Did you
What about
play
the film?
until? We're gonna go into spoilers now because it's so difficult to talk about the game and not talk about some of the
Sure.
big things that a lot of people are upset about. Did you play?
I'll tell you where I'm at. I stopped in like there's like a library or something. I got through the grocery store, the grocery shop, whatever the fuck. And then they parked their horses after a snowstorm in a library, and I stopped there. Her and Dina.
Okay, we can't talk about it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I actually don't want to get spoiled.
What I will
This game
tell
was
you.
$60.
Did you explore the library?
No, I pulled in.
Okay.
And saved.
Well, there is some very funny thing going next.
I saw
and
on
I'm
your
just-
stream. I saw some weed. Is that what that is?
Yeah, but let's not try and spoil it for everyone else. But we can stop.
If there's
there.
humanity, there's weed. So that's like barely even a spoiler. That's just inevitability. There's probably weed in Horizon Zero Dawn if you look hard enough.
If you look hard enough, you can smoke it.
Mechanical weed.
Just like metal shards.
Hydraulic bong.
I do want to say that like I have played. This is a very strange thing that I have played a video game more than you have at this point. This very rarely happens that I have played
Sick.
10 hours because I streamed 6 hours. I played 2 hours, but I was streaming it and there was an audio problem, and it's like a game I really want to do justice. So then I streamed it from beginning again for 6 hours one day, and then today I did 4 hours. I've had a busy day. I streamed 4 hours. I did a different podcast, and now I'm doing this podcast. And I also FaceTime a bunch of people just to make sure they're fine. My voice is a bit shot, but like, there's something in the game that's very upsetting. It's a plot point, and I think a lot of people think it's bullshit, and they have a really hard time going through it. I don't think I absorbed it fully the first time or the second time I saw it. It's harsh. Like, a harsh thing happens, and then as you continue playing the game, you realize that like this game is just going to throw harsh things at you, and it's going to make you do things in the game that you don't want to do because like it's against your morale. But then again, let's remember Last of Us 1. I think we can spoil Last of Us 1.
Yeah,
we're dealing with
that will when the PS5 comes out, that will be 2 console generations ago. I mean,
yeah, it's a game. I think it released in 2013. I think, and
yeah, it makes sense.
It
was the end of the PS3, basically.
The ending was really controversial because you had to do something that was the character's decision and not the player's decision, and it was, do we let Ellie die for the sake of humanity when there could be a cure? And do you extract the cure from her? She needs to die. I can't remember if they had to get something out of her brain or whatever. I can't remember. But
it was immunity related.
Because she's immune.
Yeah.
And
they go over it in the very beginning of Last of Us 2 for those who are going to play Last of Us 2 and not the first one. They kind of give you a real basic sort of, when Joel's talking to that fucking guy, I forget his name. They sort of tell you a little bit about where it left off. Tommy.
Yeah. And like I honestly, if I was there, I know that the whole idea of the first game is like the second chance at fatherhood after losing his first child, but there are literal fungus monsters around the place that click and hunt you, and the whole of the country, if not the world, is that. And if there is a possibility that the world could not be that, maybe it's different. You know, I'm playing as a character who has a surrogate daughter, and I'm not necessarily talking as if it was my own daughter, flesh and blood, or even my own surrogate daughter. But like, would have let her die. I would have let her die. Just,
I think on paper, it's the move.
It's the
It's the
move.
benefit of the many as opposed to the the benefit of the one. It was the move Joel made was selfish, um, sort of. I mean, it was selfless in the event that it was he was looking after someone that he cared about for their benefit, and also, and this is worth mentioning too. At least at the beginning of Last of Us 2, she doesn't know what happened. She doesn't understand that he saved her from that. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the railroad track. Do you let a train go forward and kill 5 people, or do you intervene and change tracks and it kills one person? One person is less than 5 people, but you intervened and made one person die. Whereas you could just go hands off and act like it's like, hey, the train was already going that way. Sorry, it killed 5 people, but it has nothing to do with me. So it's like kind of do you let it go and have no agency in it and maybe feel less bad about it? Or do you put some effort in, do something, change something with your own choice and, have less benefit or more
I
benefit?
go.
I don't know. It's like that.
Were bloaters in The Last of Us 1? Were there bloaters? There were bloaters. Are you nodding yes?
I think so. It's been a second. It's been a second since I played it. I think so.
I think there were as well. Actually, I think there were as well.
Maybe.
And they suck. I remember that
Yeah.
you get introduced
I'm
to
getting
one
mixed up
when
with
you're in a...
boomers in Left 4 Dead, which is funny that they're called boomers.
It's funny. I guess I can comment on like some of the story. Actually, I want to ask you this. In the beginning, you actually play as another character. How do you feel about that?
That was interesting. I've really only played. I did the first bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of figuring out who these people are. I don't understand quite yet how they're intertwined. That hasn't happened yet. I don't hate it. I don't know. It was an interesting way to like introduce you to the mechanics of playing these characters. I don't know.
I did not see the point of playing as another character that was not Ellie or Joel, and I still don't. And I'm 10 hours
That's fair.
in. I'm like, but I have heard that even after where I am, I will continue to play as other characters. And I'm like, this is why people are calling this game a movie. Because usually...
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'll say one of my favorite things about the first game was when you were Joel for so long, and then when you switched to Ellie, like pretty far into the game, if I remember correctly, it felt, I mean, it was a big shift. It was like a big deal. You're like, whoa, I'm another character. I didn't expect that. And, you're Ellie. You just feel different. That part of the story is just so unique because, it lets you get so used to being Joel, and then boom, you're a little girl fending for herself. Like, pretty crazy.
I have to say that the difficulty is absolutely there, and it's very easy to become overwhelmed still, which it's just like the first game. A lot of people are saying like back to back that they have played the games and it is almost identical gameplay wise, apart from just a couple new features, and it feels identical. But one thing I don't like is how your hurt animation has to play out, and sometimes when you get shot and there are a couple of people shooting at you, your hurt animation has to play out and you can just get consecutively shot on the spot, and it sucks. It's like Dark Souls-esque in the way that like the animation has to play out for you to do something, even in not cutscenes, to advance through the level. You have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait for another character's animation to play out when what you need to do is so obvious that you could just do it yourself. It gets frustrating. You know how like in Red Dead 2, everything just seems to have, you need to take a minute for everything to happen, even though, and it's impatience is what gets to you.
Sure. Yeah. That Stranding is like that a little bit, but you can skip things in that game.
I think that next week I'll have I should have finished the game by then, and you can get as far as possible too. By next week, do you reckon you'll finish it? It's like you and me, we explore every nook and cranny, so we're probably looking at like a 30+ hour playtime. Do you think you'll finish it by then?
It'll take me a while. Yeah. In a week?
Yeah?
No, not in a week. I don't think I'll finish it in a week.
Oh yeah, I just remembered, like, you still have to go to work because you work in the news.
Yeah, full-time job, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Social
yeah,
distance.
It'll probably take me a few weeks.
That's fine.
And I have to take like breaks from things. I play for like an hour and I have to just pause it and go to another room and do something or make a drink or something. You know,
so maybe
I'm bad about like long game sessions.
A good time to say, like, I have basically gone from not playing games to now streaming it on my YouTube channel, and I've streamed it for 6 hours. I streamed it for 2 hours, 3 hours even, and then I scrapped that and I started again. I streamed it for 6 hours, and then today I streamed for 4 hours. Streaming on YouTube is strange.
I'm impressed by that.
Yeah,
I find I get like a fatigue streaming, like being on. When I hit 3 hours, I'm like ready to stop it. I'm like if I've been streaming a game for like 3 hours and I get to a point where I could like save it, I'm like I almost always like stop the stream. Like I just suck. I think it's maybe the time that I usually choose to start streams in the evening. I think that's part of it, but yeah, man, 6 hours is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I planned to do that. I did it intentionally. I wanted to say, because I read how long it was, and I don't want to do like a million parts. And what I'm doing is, so it doesn't break up my usual YouTube stuff, is that the recording is actually unlisted, but you can access it via a playlist. So when you look at my uploads, it's all my game dev stuff. But like, if you want,
that is what my gaming channel is. I have streams on there. People don't know that. I have a streams playlist.
Bada bing, bada boom. I don't want to, risk spoiling it for you or anyone else. So but by next week, we will be able to talk some spoilers and some major spoilers. Are you going to play it off when I come off this?
Maybe. Yeah, I might do that.
Yeah, you'll message me very soon if you're going to start playing it again.
Okay.
You'll be like, what I'll tell you is that some people had joined my stream to experience the story because they hadn't been able to get a hold of the game for whatever reason, and some people very close to where you are were so upset they left. In fact, there were so many people that are so upset that they just stopped playing. PewDiePie is one of them. PewDiePie was playing, and the thing happened, and he was like, "I don't want to play anymore." So enjoy that next bit.
Oh shit! Okay. All right. I'm not even gonna guess. If I feel like I put a guess out there, it's just
no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'll just let it happen to me.
This has been the Super Salty Podcast, where I've been very gingerly talking about The Last of Us 2. We are, where the socials are. Max, have you got anything to tell them?
Oh yeah. Look, I mean, just stay positive out there, and don't fucking spoil the game for me. Don't tweet and tell me what is happening. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Be nice. Let people experience things. I avoided spoilers. Okay. Fine.
I gotta tell you that
thanks for listening. That's really odd.
Someone that joined my stream, their username was a Last of Us 2 spoiler, and they were actually a lot of people saying SJW's ruined this game, this, that, the other. I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Just take your whatever little fragile Gamer Boy feelings and just shove them up your ass. But you wouldn't, because
Dude,
then
I hope more games have SJW tendencies on the PS4 and the PS5, so all the fucking normies and pieces of shit go over to Xbox. That would be so cool. I'm ready for that.
Okay, this has been the Super Salty Podcast. Signing out now. Bye.
Bye. Needs more salt.